How's it going, guys? White Rabbit here. Today I just wanted to go over, I've had a lot of you guys request that I do a video on the type of the programs that I use when I'm editing videos together and things. And so I'm going to go over some of that in this video for you all. Now, I'm not going to edit this video very much because, naturally that takes, a whole bunch of extra time and things. And the people who are probably going to be watching this video, I'm betting, for one, it's not going to be very many of you, and for two, I doubt that those who would be watching this video would be too terribly concerned with, it being trimmed down to its, least limits or whatever. And you'll have to bear with me because naturally I do talk pretty slow and I take pretty big pauses, so please bear with me on that. But I'm gonna go over some of the programs that I use. I'll give some pointers along the way, and let's get into it. So I guess the first big question is what editing program do I use? When I first started making videos, and here I'll actually show you guys, the first couple of videos that I made were with Sony Vegas or Sony Vegas Pro or something like that, I think is what it's called. And if you go back to some of my early videos, the Isla Vista video that I did with that program, and I can't remember if I did the trailer and a couple of these other ones with it or not, but I know that the first video I did, at least, I used that program with. But the program that I use now is an Adobe program, and it's called Adobe Premiere Pro. So let me open this up for you guys so you can see. And the Premiere Pro program here, the Adobe Premiere Pro, I actually got in a suite. You can see I have, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, and so on and so forth. And they all come in this suite. I think it's called the Creative Suite, or CS6. Yeah, CS6. It comes in a whole suite of them. Now, you may or may not be able to find this program and these series of programs online for free, and you may or may not be able to figure out how to get them for free by doing a simple YouTube search, but you didn't hear that from me. So anyway, once you get your hands on this program, oh, and also keep in mind that you really have to have a somewhat decent computer and processor and video, graphics card and things in order to use this program to its full potential. Otherwise, it will be constantly lagging on you and glitching and really won't work very well. So if you only have like a laptop or something, or you have an old computer, it's just not going to work. So if that's the case for you, then I would recommend you stick with something like Sony Vegas, because it doesn't take nearly as much computer power to operate. And the other thing is, there is a massive learning curve with this program. Okay, this is like what the professionals use. So the benefit is you have, open ground. You can do whatever you want virtually with this program. The trick is you have to teach yourself how to do it, and like I said, there's a pretty big learning curve. It took me, a couple of months to teach myself how to adequately use this program, and also, I'm still learning. As you can tell, as the progression of my videos come out, they're constantly getting a little bit more and more better and a little higher quality and things. And that's just because it takes so long to master these things. So, and I'm still myself a long way from mastering this. So, just keep that in mind as well. So, if you're if you're serious about making videos, then I would highly recommend getting your hands on Adobe Premiere Pro and learning how to use it. So. without further ado, with that said, let's go ahead and I'll show you some of the tips and tricks of it. Actually, before I do that, I'll go ahead and cover some of the other programs I use, and then I'll show you some actual tips on how to operate some of these things. The other program that a lot of you guys ask me about is for screen capture. So how do I capture my screen? Well, I used to use a program called Screen-O-Matic, I think it's what it's called. And if you do a simple Google search, Screen-O-Matic, it's free to download. It's this one right here, Screen-O-Matic.com. You click on there and it'll have you like download a program and things, and you'll see at the bottom it'll say Screen-O-Matic when you upload a video and things. And you can upload, I believe it is 15 minutes at a time. So this should be sufficient for most of you guys, but recently, I mean just a couple days ago, I got my hands on I found out about a new way to screen capture while making videos. And so the new one that I'm using now is called ShadowPlay, and it's actually in beta form, but it's supplied through NVIDIA GeForce, or it's supplied through NVIDIA, which is like the video graphics card that I'm using. So I think that in order to utilize this program, you have to have certain video cards. So it probably won't work for some of you guys, but for those of you who do have an NVIDIA thing, an NVIDIA card, this is what I would recommend. In the way that you set it up is you open up the GeForce Experience, you click ShadowPlay, and then you can enable to allow desktop capture, and then you toggle Alt F9 to turn it on and off. So that's pretty much the basics of that. And it works really well. It takes really high quality video. I mean, it's what I'm using now, and I have it, if you can see, the quality recording now is on low, so it's on the lowest setting right now, and hopefully the graphics turn out well, but I think they will. So so that is that. Oh, and one more program that I use is for when I'm capturing DVDs, when I play like a video clip or something. If I don't record it straight off of the TV, I download it directly from a DVD. Did I say that right? If I don't take a video of it directly from the screen that I'm watching it on, then I get it through copying the DVD. So I downloaded this program. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks. But naturally for the type of videos that I do, it was well worth the cost. And the other nice thing is you can download off of the DVDs off of Redbox movies. So that's what I do most of the time, is I actually go to Redbox, pay $1, or if I have a coupon then I don't have to pay anything at all, get the DVD, bring it home, and then just right away copy it onto here, and I can edit it from there. So that's the program that I use for that. Trying to think what other programs I use. I also use obviously Photoshop and a little bit of After Effects. That's how I made my intro. Illustrator sometimes. Oh, and for getting YouTube videos, YouTube video clips off of the internet, which I do quite frequently. I use this program. It always takes a long time to load up, so hold on a second. I use this program here. It's called Free YouTube Downloader. Yeah, I mean, it works the best. Just do a Google search for that, and yeah, that's what I use. Okay, so those are the main programs that I use. Let's get into this Premiere Pro a little bit, and I'll show you kind of the process of how I make videos. I click new project. I go into this scratch disk section here, and I have everything laid out. We'll do the header, miscellaneous quickies, new. Create a new folder, and that's where all of the files that I incorporate will go to. They'll go to that folder. So it's always the biggest tip, especially as you go along, is to stay organized. Stay as organized as you possibly can. So call it programs, and we're off. Now the first thing that pops up is sequence. For every sequence that you initiate, that you start editing in, it'll ask you to qualify the specifications of the actual video composition. So the the frame size, the frame rate, the aspect ratio, so on and so forth. This all, to be completely honest with you, kind of goes over my head, so I just leave it on the default setting here and click OK. And it's been working for me so far, so that's pretty much all I do. So then, your screen, the default setup, it might be a little bit different than this, but what we have here is this screen right here is directly correlated to the timeline. And the timeline, of course, is where you edit the videos and the audio and everything. So it's directly correlated to that. And then this section here is directly correlated to the source input and things. So to give you an example here, if we import a video, let's see here, what should we import? Go to let's say the VMAs video that I did. I think this is the. So once you import a file, if you double click on it, it will show up in the source panel. And then what you can do is you can kind of toggle through it. And pick which sections you want. So what you do, how you do that is you select the ins and the outs in which to transfer over. So one way to transfer the things over is to just click and hold and drag it down. Okay, and then it just pulls it right into the sequence here that you're working on. Or you can click this little icon and drag only the video, or you can click this little icon and grab just the audio. And you can see the audio waves right there. Now, what you usually do, realistically, when you're editing, is you don't want to drag the entire video down that you're working on. So you would select endpoints. So for example, if I only wanted, say like this little section of the commercial, right? So I would find the start point. I would click I for the beginning, the in point, and I would scan through to the section that I wanted to close out on, which would be here. I would click O. On my keyboard, I would click O, and that's the out point. So now when I drag that down, you can see it's not the full frame. It's just that section that I highlighted, and you can see it pop up here on the sequence screen here, showing. So now if I click on that, I'll mute it here. Now if I click on that, this is the only thing that shows. Okay. Now another question that I get asked a lot is, how do I speed up or slow down video? If you click X on the keyboard, you get this little screen, this little icon here. It's also, you can click on it right there, and then you can literally just extend it, in which case it goes much slower, or you can pull it back and it will go faster. See? and V takes you back to your cursor. So let me see if I can import another one here that we can kind of play around with. If we go to, let's see, Dealey Plaza, old video I did, and we'll take, I know what we'll do. I'll show you how I did something here. Find the map here. Okay. So import, say, this picture right here. Okay. Let me delete this. I just imported this image, and I'm also going to import a ping. Okay. And what a ping is, well, I'll show you. I'll just import it now, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open up Photoshop, and I'll show you what a ping is. So when you save a file or a picture, you know, you can save it as a GIF, or you can save it as a JPEG, or you can save it as a ping, along with other things. But ping is one of the options, and it enables you to save it in a few different ways. I can't multitask, so hold on. Let me open this real quick. Okay, so this is the same exact image opened up in Photoshop, and you can see it's a ping. So if I add a layer behind it, and I paint the background, you can see it doesn't affect the whole image, right? Because what the ping is it actually saves like actual layers, which makes it extremely convenient because you can save just like particular shapes. And the checkerboard pattern behind it here is representing that there's nothing behind it really. So all that would be saved in a ping file is this shape. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So if we drag this this image down here, okay, and we click effects for this individual image, and zoom in here a little bit, we can go to motion. We can dictate how big it is. We can determine where it sits on the screen, vertically or laterally, or vertically or horizontally, I mean. You can change the rotation of it. You can change the opaquency, and so on and so forth. The other thing is you see this little timer here. You can add frame rates to it, or whatever you call it. So say right now I have it at 100% on the scale. Okay, if I click this, that is the point where it is in the timeline where it is at 100% in the scale on how big it is. So if I fast forward a little bit in the timeline and I change this at all, because it has a time correlated to it, it will create a new toggle point. So say I make it a lot smaller at this point in the timeline. Okay, so if we start at the initial point and I click play, you can see how it changes over time. And there are other things you can do, like if you right click on it, you can click like ease in, for example, so it kind of eases into that position, and so on and so forth. But for now, I'll just not put a thing on it. I'll make it full size of the screen, and we'll move on from here. I'll go ahead and drag over the ping image that we have, which is this yellow triangle. And remember, again, there's nothing behind it, even though on the screen it looks black behind it. That's just how Premiere Pro recognizes this file. So we'll drag that down here, and you can see when it shows up in the actual image, it's it's just the shape. So we'll open up the effects for this individual thing as well, and kind of play with the size here a little bit. Move it over here, put it right about there, and we'll add toggle the timers to it. put the timers over there, grow it to bigger than the screen, and when we play it, we can see how it comes in. Okay. If you want to speed it up, then you just move them closer together. Okay. If you want it even faster, move them closer together. You want the ease in effect, you just ease in. There you go. It'll be more recognizable as if it's slower. There you go. So that's kind of the idea, and you know, obviously you can do the rotation thing to it. So if I wanted to do that, you know, you can see how it rotates and so forth. So that's kind of how you add the animations and things. And then you can also go to here. Let me import another image here, just a random image. Let's see, bridge looks good. So we got this bridge image. Again, adjust the scale, and say we want to transition between these two. So we go over here to effects, and we would select cross dissolve, for example, and there you go. Or dip to black, which would look like that, or additive dissolve, which looks like that, you know, and so on and so forth. And there's a ton of other things that you can do, but I think you guys get the idea. Let's think, what else can we do? If we open up the effects here and we drag over, there are other effects that you can do, like for example, three-way color. You can adjust the color of, you know, what the image looks like. You can also do like a fast blur, like that, for example. Oh, and that reminds me, some of you guys were asking me how I do something here. Let me import another clip and show you. So I've imported this clip, and if I drag it down, you guys, here, I don't want that much. I don't want that much either. If I drag it down, you guys can see that it doesn't take up the full screen. And some of you guys were asking how I fill in the void empty space here. And what I do is I right click on the image, and first I have to unlink it. Okay, so what that does is it makes the audio and the video separate. Then what I do is I copy and I paste the exact same image. So this video, the video itself is doubled. Then I take the bottom, I go to the effects, motion, increase the size of it. Okay, I'm just gonna blow through this, so just to give you guys an idea, but I increase the size of it, then I go to the effects, I add fast blur, put the ratio up to about 15 or so. Then I go to opacancy, drop it down to like 75, for example. Oh, we'll add the blur to 20. Okay, and then we still have a little bit of black bars just from the way that the video is, so we'll go to the top video here, increase the size just a little bit, and then we will add this little effect, which allows me to adjust the size of this. I don't really know how to really explain it. It creates like a mat where you can edit out parts of the frame that you don't want in. I guess is how you would explain it, but anyway, now you can see that when we play the video, we have two videos, of the same video on top of each other. One of which is in the background, is blurred, is slightly darker, and one on the foreground, which is, you know, cut a little bit to shape. So that's pretty much just how I do that. What else? Something new that I have just figured out how to do for the Mockingjay video that I did. Let's see here. I took these pictures of kids during the MK Ultra section, and for example this one, drag that in here. So this is the image of the kid, and I wanted to kind of eliminate as much of this background space as I could. So I went into effects and I added Luma key to it, and you can kind of see the effect. And then I also, dim the opaquency, and when you put it on top of another video, you can kind of see, how you can play with it and things. So, you can also adjust the Luma key itself and create different effects and things. So, yeah, it's a new one. Let's see. Show you how I reverse clips. Some people ask about that. Do a matrix clip here. Throw this in. It's not good. Let's see. Try again. Oh, well, yeah, we can work with this here. I'm just going to select this section of this video here, and if you play it normally, it looks like this. Okay, then what I do is I right click, I go to speed and duration, click reverse speed, click OK, and then it just flips the clip. So now playing it forward looks like this. It just completely reverses it. You can kind of see when the plane comes out of the building there. Okay. What else? I don't know, guys. Like I said, the program's pretty complicated, and there is a pretty substantial learning curve with this. So, naturally you're not going to be able to master this just from, watching a few minute video of me kind of ramble and show you just a couple of things. I'm not exactly that great at explaining a lot of this editing stuff. I'm, pretty new at it myself. So what I would recommend is you just do simple YouTube searches for, tutorials on how to do things. And if you have a question, then just search for that specific question. That's, how I learned. And besides that, the other thing, one thing that I really had a problem with using this program, especially at the beginning, was rendering my video. So when I would go to File, Export, Media, I would never end up getting a very good quality. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what I set it to currently. The format I select is H264, and for this section I go all the way down to YouTube HD 1080p 23.976. Okay, that's the one I use. The trick really is to match the output, which is what you're selecting up here, to the actual source image itself, and the closer that you can get these two, usually the better. And there's obviously a whole bunch of different settings that you can play with down here. You don't have to pick just a preset. And then you click export and wait however long it takes, and you got your video. So I think that's just about it. And Photoshop itself, every single one of these programs in and of itself, it has a huge learning curve, you know. So um, I guess the biggest thing to keep in mind is that when you're thinking about making videos, especially, documentary type style like I try and do, is you have to remember that nobody's going to make the video for you. You have to make it, okay? And you have to teach yourself how to make it, especially if you don't already know. So my advice to you is just find a program that you feel comfortable with using. Dedicate a lot of time to uh, figuring the ins and outs of that program out for yourself, and don't be afraid. Don't be too worried about your first video being absolutely perfect. It's a growing learning process, so you'll constantly be getting better and better. So just get as much practice as you can. When you're first starting out, try and talk about a subject that you feel very confident and knowledgeable about, and what I usually do is I record the audio for my videos first, and then I go back on top of it and add the videos and the images and things. It's a little bit easier for me that way to keep my train of thought. And yeah, guys, if you have any questions in particular, I'm always here, always willing to help if I can. If you would like some pointers, just hit me up. If you have a question, just send me a private message. Is a pretty assured way of getting a hold of me. Just a private message here on YouTube. And I think that's it, guys. If you have anything else, just let me know. Hopefully this is kind of what you were hoping for. And yeah, thanks, and God bless.